2022.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Wheeler. Mayor Bodier.
Present.
Police Chief Walker is absent. Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion.
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry.
Present.
Myself, Carrie Eustace, Clerk, present.
I'd like to note
Mayor's
that.
announced.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just a quick note that I think Assistant Chief St. Cyr's here is in Tim Walker's place.
Chief Walker's at a graduation ceremony. We have an officer graduating from the police academy today, so he's there, that officer. So I'm here to read his report.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to move number one, new business, Amanda Strebeck with Post 08 Netterville, the 2021 financial statement audit results, to currently now number one, special presentation. We'll move Chief Walker to number two, and then the citizen survey to number three.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler to move audit presentation. Do you have a second?
Yes.
Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Agenda is amended. And I'll just be brief with my messages. I have just two things. I want to congratulate Droopies on being the #1 snowball and and Jefferson Parish. They got that award. I believe they'll be getting it tomorrow morning. Oh, they got it yesterday?
They were announced yesterday.
It was announced yesterday. They should be getting an award tomorrow morning. That's pretty incredible. We've always been prideful of our snowballs here, and now we got the #1 snowball in Jefferson Parish. I'd also like to welcome Damian Stevens. He is a 2-month project coordinator here. He also plays on the NOLA Gold team. He's the captain of the Namibian national team that qualified for the 2023 World Cup. He's a world-class athlete, and he's a really professional young man, and he's really helping me get aboard on trying to start to see some project coordination, especially as we start to get into some of the FEMA projects and hurricane cleanup projects. So from there, do you want to bring up? All right, so I'm,
Audit first.
what's that?
Audit.
Okay,
Audit first.
okay,
So
cool.
special presentation number one, Amanda Strebeck, Post 08 Netterville, 2021 financial statement audit results.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Strebeck. I am the engagement director. I work for Post 08 Netterville.
It's on.
It's on.
Is it on? Okay. I work for Post 08 Netterville. I'm located in the Baton Rouge office. This is my second year to work on the engagement. So I'm here to present the results. I believe everyone has a copy or an electronic copy that they received prior to the meeting. So I'm just going to hit a few of the highlights of what our audit included, what the results were, and then if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to discuss that. So I'm pleased to report that you have received an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that you can receive. That's a clean audit opinion. So that means that we were able to perform our audit within scope and issue an opinion. So there's several pieces to the audit this year. You have the financial statement audit that you've had in the past. You also have to have a report on internal controls under government auditing standards because of the state dollars that you receive. And then this year you also had to have an agreed upon procedures related to the statewide AUPs that are back in rotation. They had been on pause after COVID, but they are back this year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those at the very end. As part of our audit, a few of the key things that we want to report is that there were no significant audit entries that were proposed by us. The books were closed out, information was included, provided very timely. There were no new significant accounting policies adopted during the year that we would need to go over to talk about any, big changes. We've had a lot of changes in auditing standards and accounting standards over the years, but we had a little bit of a break this year. There were no disagreements with management or no other significant items that we noted that we would need to bring to your attention. The audit went really smooth. We had a lot of pre-meetings. We had very timely responses. We were, very excited that we were able to conclude the audit about a week earlier than we have in the past. We were able to date the audit June the 27th, whereas in the past it's really kind of come up to that June 30th deadline with the legislative auditor. So that, from our perspective and from everyone else's perspective, it's a really big help when we come in and the information's ready, available, and we're able to get our questions answered. So I think that was really good. Y'all do have a new fund this year related to FEMA, and that's about $3 million of expenses. So when we look at FEMA, you know, it meets the criteria to go in its own category, but y'all haven't had any collections yet. And that's not unusual with FEMA. FEMA is not like most of your other government receivables that come in 60 to 90 days. FEMA can take years. It's a very long process. And so from an audit perspective, what we do is we look at what those expenses were. We tested some of those. We want to make sure that that list is complete. And then we also go out to GOSEP, which is on their website, and kind of look and see, you know, where are these PWs, what has been approved, what's pending, and things like that. And so we're able to get good internal information, compare it to GOSEP, and look at that. You know, we know that y'all are working diligently trying to get those collections. And you know, but it just takes time to get that through that entire federal process to get those collections. So that is included in here. With those federal dollars, we have to evaluate whether or not you need a single audit in accordance with uniform guidance, because they're not technically, the PWs were not approved as of year end and as of the report date. You do not have to have an audit under single audit of that $3 million because it's over the $750,000 threshold. So next year, as y'all start getting those PWs approved and y'all start getting collections and things like that, we'll have to reevaluate whether or not you'll have to have that single audit over those FEMA dollars. You know, all governments are subject to that as far as the guidelines over $750,000 of expenditures. That's you know, pretty common, and basically it's just trying to make sure that, you know, those costs were spent appropriately and things like that. There were a few subsequent event items noted in the back related to just some insurance collections as well as some debt type activities. You know, we always look at from fiscal year end of 12/31 to when we issue you the report, which was June the 27th, and so that is included on page 52 in the financial statements. We were also pleased to report that there were no findings this year related to the financial statements. Whether, you know, we come in and we don't give an opinion on your internal controls, but we do look at them to see that they're, you know, properly designed, that they're functioning. We don't necessarily test them to rely on them, but we are looking at things like our bank reconciliations being done timely. What is the process for approval of expenditures? What is the process for approval of payroll? Things like that. So we do come in and evaluate that, and there were no items that, you know, we felt, you know, that we weren't able to get comfortable with or felt that would result in a finding. So that's really good, you know, not to have any findings over the financial statements. And then, so that kind of covers the audit. So again, you know, it's an unmodified opinion. We provide reasonable but not absolute assurance that the numbers are materially correct. We, you know, we can't test 100% of transactions, or we wouldn't, you know, we would have to be here 365 days out of the year. But again, it was a very clean audit. It was very smooth. You know, we had great cooperation from everyone. So that, you know, that's kind of how the audit piece is structured. And then when we shift gears into the statewide AEP, there are 13 different areas that the legislative auditor has set this criteria. And their goal was to take a deeper dive into financial records. They want to understand, you know, what are your written policies and procedures over certain areas. And they do not have a materiality, and it's not an audit. So it is agreed upon procedures is yes or no. Was the information there, or was the information not? There's no auditor judgment involved. There's no materiality. If I pick a $2 transaction and you didn't have support for it, I have to show it as an exception. My job as your auditor is also to go in and evaluate if any of those exceptions reveal any type of internal control issues that maybe should result in a finding. You know, maybe they need to be elevated. Maybe as I pick 10 payroll and I notice that, you know, there's no proper approval, maybe that creates a red flag and maybe that elevates. So with these agreed upon procedures, because there's such a deep dive and there is no materiality, every client has some exceptions. There's always some little nuance that shows up that has to be reported as an exception. Y'all do have a few of those that are listed in here. We have management's responses, but again, none of those resulted in what we would consider a finding or a larger issue that we would need to report and disclose in the financial statement. So again, that's not uncommon. Some of their suggestions are just really just best practices, and not everybody chooses to adopt those. So, you know, with regards to policies and procedures, they also added in 2 new areas related to IT and sexual harassment, and those came out in December. of 21, so no December 31st had time to implement a new policy in that short window. So again, it doesn't raise an audit flag. It is here for information. It is required to be part of your reporting package to the legislative auditor. So it is a public document. All of this was submitted timely to the legislative auditor and is posted on their website. So I know that's a really high-level review, but again, you know, a lot of information goes into preparing these financial statements, and I think one of the key pieces is understanding that there's a lot of activity that doesn't necessarily flow through the accounting system, but, you know, whether it's leases, other type of agreements, debt, things like that, you know, other transactions. And so we do get representation from management that all of that information has been provided to us and included in the financials. So I'm happy to take any questions. I know that's pretty high level, but I'll kind of keep it short and sweet. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
we're
we're good.
All right. Well, thank y'all very much. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with y'all and all of your team members, and everyone has, like I said, it's been very responsive and helpful. And you know, this one went by really like textbook, so that's been great.
Perfect.
I'm sure if you had a bunch of findings, we'd have a bunch of questions.
Absolutely. I would talk a lot longer if we had a bunch of findings, but it was a good, smooth year with a lot of effort and attention to detail. So,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And while we're at it, I'd like to thank our team here for working so well with them
Yeah.
to get it done in a timely manner.
Yeah. We have a great staff here at City Hall. It's been incredible. You know, we were pushing, our goal was to have this audit done early for the first time that I can even remember, and we did. We were able to pull it off a week early. I was trying to push faster, and we were moving at a rate of speed, and I was working everybody really hard. And but I just want, my staff's incredible, and thank you again. You know, you were a pleasure to work with,
Thank
and your
you.
team. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add old business number 2, planning and zoning appointment. We had a nomination at the last meeting, and it was deferred so that the council can speak with the nominee.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to move planning and zoning appointments to old business number 2. Have a second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is amended.
Ready?
Okay, Chief Walker.
Special presentations number 2, Assistant Chief Brian St. Cyr, and the current state of the Harahan Police Department.
Brian St. Cyr, Assistant Chief of Police with the Harahan Police Department. Chief Walker is at a graduation ceremony for one of our officers tonight, and he asked me to come here and read the statistics. Number of calls for service, 698. Accidents, 7. 76 citations issued with 133 charges, 9 patrol requests. 14 narcotics arrests, 21 charges, 7 felonies, 7 misdemeanors, and 7 city. We had 52 other arrests, and with a total of 90 charges. 4 felonies, 41 misdemeanors, 17 city, and 28 traffic. No murders, no rapes, no robberies. 1 residential burglary, 0 non-residential burglaries, no attempted burglaries, no vehicle thefts, no attempted vehicle thefts. 18 larceny thefts, the majority of which are financial items that were taken from the mailboxes on Citrus. We report these for Harahan residents. If you have a check or a financial instrument taken, but you're a resident here, even if it's taken outside the city, we can do the report for you. We've had Harahan residents that had checks stolen out of the city of New Orleans, and it was taking them days to get a report. So state law allows us to take the report, so we'll take it wherever it happens, as long as it's in the state of Louisiana, and we'll write it if you're a resident here. That brings me to one request that we have. Don't put anything in the blue boxes outside of the mailbox on Citrus, the post office on Citrus. They are stealing twice a month from there. And even if it's not a check, your mail will come up missing. They take everything, they dispose of the mail that doesn't have checks. They keep the checks, they wash them and deposit them and change the amounts. That is happening on a regular basis throughout Jefferson Parish. And I hesitate to say, because I'm going to jinx this, it has never happened at our boxes. But we have cameras, we're watching them.
But it's not just on Citrus, it's other post
everywhere.
offices too.
It's from
Postal
here,
boxes
from here to
too.
Houston.
Yeah.
The post office has, one key for 80 post office boxes, and so they get them and they travel throughout these areas. But it's a phenomenon that's happening from Houston all the way to Florida, that these boxes are getting hit. It's happening a lot. Every week, we're taking 2, 3, 4, 5 reports from Harahan residents who had checks taken from the post office on Citrus, one on Metairie Road, the one in Kenner, in New Orleans, and it's happening so frequently. We really are trying to impress on people: do not mail anything in those exterior boxes. If you can, please walk it in. It's happening, several times a month now.
Now, Jefferson Parish did just make an arrest on a few, correct?
They did, and we participated in 2 arrests. We are part of a task force that we belong to with the Secret Service and with the Post Office Police. Secret Service is involved because of money instrument fraud, and the Postal Police have 5 officers from here to Baton Rouge. So we supplement them. We help do surveillance on different post offices. We've been in pursuits with people. We catch them. They run. We've caught several. We've been involved in several arrests. And there's one thing in common with everyone that's been arrested. They all have high capacity assault rifles and handguns with 50-round magazines. And every one of them had these high-capacity assault rifles and high-capacity magazines in their firearms. And you start to wonder, it's really a nonviolent crime. They go in there to steal these. Who do they have these weapons for? And it's for the police when you're trying to stop them. So we've been lucky so far that none of the officers that have been involved have been injured. But we've had a number of these cases. It's gangs, they're organized gangs, and they work the South. They work Louisiana, they work Texas, they work Mississippi, and they work Alabama and Florida. And it's a moneymaker. They can take a check that you wrote for $5 and make it $50,000. And what they're doing is they can find out if your check is good, right? They'll call the bank and say, well, I've got a $5,000 check. Is it good if I go deposit it? And your bank will tell them, yeah, that's good. Well, I'll say, well, is $10,000 good? And they'll just go up to whatever you have in there, and they'll write the check for that. They're hitting businesses, they're hitting individuals. So please don't mail anything in the exterior boxes at the post office. The last item on the list is assaults. We had 2 last month. So once again, our crime stats are extremely low. Once again, we've been recognized by the FBI crime statistics as the safest city in Louisiana. We've been pretty consistent with that. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about is lock your doors. I grew up in Harahan. I've been here my entire life, and the one thing that people say, I don't lock my doors, right? It's Harahan. Well, yeah, it's Harahan. We have a lot of good people here, but we also have a highway, and we have people that come from outside of Harahan, and they will pull on doors. We haven't had a vehicle window smashed in God knows how long. What we do have is, throughout Jefferson Parish, people getting out and pulling on door handles. It takes 2 seconds. They're in, they're gone. Everybody's seen the videos online and these different things. They're in, they're out in 5 seconds, and they run down the street pulling on door handles. They're looking for firearms, quick cash, things like that. And we have had 2 vehicles in the last few months that they've gotten into. They've gotten pocket change. Thank God nobody had a firearm in the car. Please don't leave firearms in your cars. If you're going to carry a firearm, take it in and out of wherever you're going to go, because that's the one thing that these burglars really love to get to go on the street. The other thing is that we've had a few incidents with door-to-door salesmen trying to sell magazines. They're getting pretty aggressive with our residents. We've had a few calls about it. I've gone out and I've made 2 arrests myself on people who were just just out of hand, getting aggressive with people, trying to get them to buy these magazines. Get us, if you feel uncomfortable, call us. We'll come out. They're supposed to have permits, they're supposed to have identification, and they're supposed to have licenses. So if they don't have that, we'll ask them to leave and not come back until they have proper documents and licenses. So that's it.
Thank you.
All right, any questions?
No, sir, thank you. Thank you.
Special presentations number 3, citizen survey results.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Walter. I'm a part of Demeter Consulting. We are a consulting firm that specializes in research, data analytics, and other business solutions, really focusing on nonprofits, local government, and small business. Who here received the postcards to take the survey about a month and a half ago? Did we take the survey? Awesome. Well, we certainly appreciate it. We had an outstanding response. This really came about. Tim Baudier reached out to me and said, we want to have enough data analytics to prove that Harahan is as good as we say it is. And in the brief interactions that I've had with Mayor Baudier, I know that he's a talker, he's a storyteller, and every time I see him, he tells me how great Harahan is. And I wanted to provide him figures so that when he goes to Baton Rouge or when he's talking to other businesses and trying to bring industry in or other partnerships in, he's able to support that with statistically proven results. And I'm proud to say that through your participation and through the participation and support of the council and the administration, we were able to get that done. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll start with the first slide, please. So this is the boring stuff, okay? This is the most mathematical it's going to get, all presentation. We have approximately 4,000 households in Harahan. And in industry standard, we're looking for a 95% confidence interval with a 5% margin of error. All that means is that if we ran the survey 100 times, 95 times, all the results would fall between 5% of each other. Because we had 506 total respondents, we actually have a margin of error of 4%, which means the data is even more accurate. We had, again, 506 total respondents. Our average age of the respondent was 56 years old. And we had participants from the ages of 21 all the way to 92 years old. So a pretty diverse age range, as well as a pretty even distribution between male and female respondents. So the topics of inquiry, we wanted to measure the quality of life, our community vitality, our quality of services and governance, and our local business, right? So quality of life is essentially under what physical and intellectual conditions are you living within Harahan? Are you happy? What is the city perception? Our community vitality, what is the community vibrancy, and are you proud to live in Harahan? Quality of governance and services, essentially any initiatives, actions, or services provided for the city. What is your perception and satisfaction of those services? And the local business, what is the availability, perception, and support of local business in Harahan? So we're going to go over some brief survey highlights. The survey was a lot more in-depth than what we're providing today, but for the sake of time, and I know that talking about numbers is the most riveting thing in the world, we're just going to touch on some of the highlights, and that's something that you're going to be able to be proud and take home. So quality of life. We measured overall quality of life, overall feeling of safety, and overall happiness. And again, this is within the scope of living in Harahan. So this isn't just your day-to-day life. This isn't you at work. This isn't within your family. This is within the scope of just living in Harahan. What is your overall quality of life? 93% of all respondents who had an opinion said they have a positive sentiment of living within Harahan, and only 2% had a negative perception of living in Harahan. Overall feeling of safety, again, with the great work, we know that Harahan is the safest city in Louisiana, but now the police services are going to know that everyone does feel safe. 95% of all respondents said they have an overall sentiment of feeling safe. Only 1% had a negative response or sentiment of feeling safe. And overall happiness, 90% of all respondents are happy living in Harahan. We can conclude from the quality of life, people love living here because they feel safe because of the great fire services, police services, and you guys are proud residents of this city. Community vitality. As a place to live, 95% of people said this is a great place to live. as a place to raise children. 93% said this is a great place to raise children, and 91% said that this is a place that they are happy to call home. Again, very proud of the community, very proud of the relationship with the neighbors, and the overall relationship to the community and all residents of that community. Quality of services and governance. Overall quality of Harahan Fire Services, 87% had an overall positive sentiment. 11% is neutral, and that just means that they do have an opinion, but perhaps they never had to use any of the fire services, right? It's not negative or positive. One thing that I've told the administration is that neutral doesn't mean bad. It just means that I don't really have a positive or negative feeling, but they do have an opinion. Overall quality of Harahan Police Services, 87% were positive. Again, 9% was neutral. I view that as a positive thing. If you don't really need the police on a day-to-day basis, you know that they're there, but maybe you don't necessarily have a true opinion. And then only 4% was negative. Overall quality. Oh, does it? So I made a joke to Tim. I said the 4% probably recently got a ticket, so it was a timing issue, right? Yeah. So overall quality of garbage services, 83% said it was positive, 7% said it was negative. Overall satisfaction with response of efforts to Hurricane Ida. Again, this is the city efforts to Hurricane Ida. 79% said it was positive, 50% was neutral, and 7% was negative. So again, I view that as a very positive thing, knowing the impact and severity of Hurricane Ida. Local business. When we ask the questions, I support local business. 95% of the people said that they do agree, 5% was neutral, and nobody, not one respondent, disagreed, right? So that's extremely positive. And from a business perspective, when somebody says, why should I hang my shingle in this economic race in Harahan, it's because our community 100% supports local business. When we asked, I want more businesses in Harahan, 79% of people said they agreed. I am more likely to shop in Harahan for available items rather than non-Harahan stores. 78% people agreed, and everything I routinely buy, I can buy within Harahan. And even though this is only 40% people agree, right? And you can ask, well, how is this a positive thing? And I look at that negative number as a positive thing. We know, talking to the administration, that we want to bring more business in Harahan. And when we say that we don't have enough business, but I'm more likely to patron local establishment, and we know that we have an overwhelming majority of support for local business. This is a 100% attractive market to bring small local businesses in Harahan. And this is something for Tim and other members of the administration, or even yourselves, to go out and to recruit other local business, or even start your own within the city of Harahan, and to create a more vibrant and economic community. So our areas of opportunity, everything that we've seen for the most part has been resoundingly positive. However, we know that having a growth mindset, we always want to continue to grow and improve. And I told Tim and the administration that we have a few areas of opportunity, and those are government communication. I think that the government can do a better job facilitating communication and also receiving communication with the constituents and the residents. Community engagement, we know that over the past couple of years, we've provided a few opportunities for community engagement, and we should see more of that, and that should be a good opportunity even for some of the local restaurants and other businesses within Harahan, and also business and industry. I think that our data are probably the strongest point that we saw was the overall reception to bringing in business and industry, and going out and recruiting local businesses to come to Harahan should be a pretty easy feat with these figures. And with that, I'll just open the floor for any questions and opportunities for comments.
I think we good.
All right, either you don't care, I did a good job, so I appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Approval.
The only statement I'd like to make, if you guys give me, if you don't mind, is that, you know, we went through 2 hurricanes and a pandemic, and we've done everything we can to promote our small town and our small community, and we've maybe been the most grassroots, boots on the ground council that I've ever been with, and an administration I've ever worked with, and I think that is really starting to pay dividend. People see that we care, and people want to be a part of a town where the administration cares. And I mean, I give kudos to this staff, again, my council, and I can't tell you, I mean, we worked endlessly trying to reassure businesses that this is the place to be, and reassure, you know, and just be out and supporting our local businesses. We've done an incredible job. I know a lot of people, I've told this story several times during COVID. We actually built press packs, if you will call that, and We went and every one of us who had worked with a bank or a way to find funding to stay in business, we put it together and we walked it out, hand walked it out to every single business. We have one of the most amazing success stories that I believe here, and that is Smoked, because they went from closing to doors to now cooking for the Saints and the Pelicans, and that is an incredible feat. Steve and Maureen are incredible people, and they deserve it. And then now, we found out that we do have the #1 snowball stand in all of Jefferson Parish, which is even better, right? So again, I like to thank my council, my staff. I mean, we really work hard. Police and fire has always been there with us on our side because they've done it just as well. I mean, we couldn't have gone through Ida without our police and fire the way we did. So I want to make sure we thank everybody because it was a true team effort. Madam Clerk?
Well, guys, we do have more than one good snowball stand here. We have a bunch.
Yeah, every snowball stand's great.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on July 21st, 2022.
Okay, do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the council meeting on July 21, 2022? I have a motion by Councilman Chatelain. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Asbiel. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on July 21st, 2022.
All right, I have a motion by Councilman Asbiel to approve those minutes. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Those minutes are approved. Madam Clerk?
Communications. Reading of the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meeting on July 20th, 2022.
Okay, do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion to dispense?
And we're gonna, we come back, we'll open for public hearing before we take the vote. All right, no one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion dispensed by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Reading is dispensed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meeting on July 20th, 2022.
Okay, so we'll now open public hearing. If anyone speaks on approval of the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meeting on July 20th, 2022, no one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Johnston. Do I have a second by Councilman Wheeler? All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. The reading is dispensed. Madam Clerk, resolutions.
Resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2022-8. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. A resolution authorizing Mayor Tim Bodier to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Joseph P. Lapinto III, Sheriff and ex officio tax collector for the parish of Jefferson for the purpose of providing for the collection of the City of Harahan's sales and use tax.
Okay, so we'll now open for public hearing. Anyone who will speak on proposed resolution number 2022-8, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
Council, this is a cooperative endeavor agreement that the sheriff requires to be signed in order to collect the sales tax. He's obviously already collecting our sales and use tax in Harahan. This is for the additional fire tax that was voted on in March and passed with 70%.
He's already collected it too. He just won't.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we put this in
He's
place.
already collecting it. He just won't give it to us till we put this in place. This just makes sure he gets his fee for collecting it.
I have some comments on it. Just as general information, no other government agency has a written cooperative endeavor agreement with the Sheriff's Department. And that's probably, dating back to the birth of Jefferson Parish. It's, the sheriff collects sales tax and everybody pays 11% plus some additional cost, as does the existing sales tax collected by Harahan. So the fact that they want a separate agreement is because, in their eyes, all the other taxes they collect are the parish taxes, and we participate in those. This is unique. So the concept of a CEA, a cooperative endeavor agreement, is not surprising and there's nothing out of line. There is, in my reading of it, a clause in Section 6 that I think is not what is traditionally done by the sheriff for all the taxing agencies that they collect for. I had an opportunity to discuss it with the city attorney, and both he and I have discussed it with the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office attorney, and that attorney has a differing opinion than I do. I think it's just a definitional clause on what costs they can collect. What they do collect is, an example would be from taxing agencies. If they litigate against a vendor for the benefit of a taxing agency. A vendor doesn't file sales tax, they litigate it. They get a judgment, they file a lien, they have collection costs. They charge the taxing agency because they're acting as our agent. It's appropriate. The first section of the attachment is, I'm sorry, section 6. The first sentence says, "The sheriff shall receive as compensation for the collection of City of Harahan sale and use tax a commission in the amount of the 11%." I'm sorry, it's 4. I need to be on 6.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, you're on section
Section
4 or
6.
6?
I meant to say section 6. I'm sorry, Councilman. Section 6 begins,
Okay.
"All costs and expenses incurred by the sheriff for the administration, enforcement, and collection of the tax shall be borne by and shall be reimbursed to the sheriff, the City of Harahan." I don't think that's what's currently done. No municipality pays those all costs and expenses for the administration, enforcement, and collection. And again, by way of example, the sheriff receives 11% of all sale and use taxes paid in the parish of Jefferson. They don't receive a commission on internet sales tax, which go through the state. That's a large sum of money. And they have a department, and I'm not sure how big it is, but for discussion purposes, it might be 30 people that work in the sales tax collection department. The sheriff bears those costs and does not get reimbursed for those costs from the municipality and the agencies that they collect money for. They do collect expenses as discussed further down where they relate to that agency that are unusual. For instance, the City of Harahan will, under this agreement, reimburse the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office for about $13,000, which had to do with their modification of a tax form. We now have a new parish-wide form as a result of our tax, and a mailing they did to all the vendors subject to paying taxes. That's passed on to us through this agreement. It applies only to us. It's an unusual expense. That's appropriate. But for the 25 or 30 or 50 people that on an ongoing basis collect sales tax, they don't charge municipalities or school boards or cities for that back office, ongoing normal cost. This sentence is very broad. All costs and expenses incurred by the sheriff for the administration and enforcement and collection of the tax. I had a discussion with the sheriff's in-house attorney, and she disagrees with the interpretation of that. I don't believe there's any intent by anybody to take advantage of the City of Harahan. I think it's an interpretation issue. I struck out talking to the attorney. So based upon this wording, I would normally want to vote against this. It's important. So I'm going to propose an amendment to not this agreement, but to the resolution that would allow the mayor to sign a resolution in substantially the same form. I'm sorry, the mayor could sign a cooperative endeavor agreement in substantially the same form as this agreement. And I would ask the mayor to make an attempt to discuss principle to principle the meaning of that sentence that I'm questioning, and to have some of the principals employed, that would be the sheriff, have some of his employees there who can state what the sheriff charges agencies now, and is that reflected in this sentence? This first sentence should be what has been in place in Jefferson Parish going back many, many, many years. So my proposed amendment,
So can I ask a question?
yes,
So this is the first time we having this discussion right here. When did you meet with the parish attorney?
I didn't meet with him. I spoke to him sometime last week.
All right. I feel this right here is only declaring if they have to go after someone to collect extra tax, like if somebody denies paying their taxes and we have to go after them legally, that's where we would be charged. We're not gonna be charged on a monthly basis.
That is what everything after that first clause says. And this is the distinction, Councilman. We're not saying that we're gonna pay these unusual costs, these extra costs. This says all costs and expenses incurred by the sheriff for the administration, enforcement, and collection of the tax shall be borne by the city of Harahan, period. And to give examples, the examples are not all inclusive.
I think
Go
my
ahead, sir.
comment to your, look, and I'm welcome to entertain an amendment to the resolution itself, not to actually the CEA. My comment to that, if you go on to read the next sentence, it also says expenses and costs incurred by the sheriff that are common among all taxing agencies will be shared on a prorated basis.
It's normal.
So I think that covers your common costs. They're gonna be shared on a prorated basis, so your common cost of paying the staff, of changing sheets, whatever it might be, those are gonna be shared by all the taxing agencies on a prorated basis.
That's not what happens.
Which we
in
already paid
principle. No, we don't. All we pay to the sheriff's department, and Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, we pay 11% of our gross tax receipts. In addition to that, if they have an audit, they'll bill us for the audit cost.
So the 11% is prorating all the cost.
The 11% is the revenue to the sheriff's department.
Correct.
And it's our cost.
Our cost, which prorates to pay for all his back in-house staff,
No, that's,
which collects the taxes.
this is reimbursement of his cost, not having anything to do with the 11%. It's a separate provision that talks about the 11%.
I only see this as if they have to go after someone legally. That's how I interpret it.
Uh-huh. That's the exact interpretation of the sheriff's department's counsel. But if we sign this, and I don't believe this sheriff or possibly any sheriff would charge us something that they're not charging other agencies. But this says they can charge us for a share of his back office for normal collection costs.
Which, in my opinion, we pay that now. That's the
No.
11%.
The 11% separate. This doesn't say which cost shall be covered by the 11%.
He could come back and say, "Oh, my cost went up. We're going up to 12%."
No, I don't think he can. I think the 11% may be controlled by statute. It may be. Anyway.
I'm comfortable with having Mr. Buddy propose his amendments and see how they do and moving forward like
Yeah,
that.
so what I'm proposing, and it gives the mayor an option to have a further discussion before he executes this, if he chooses. In section 2, in the second line of the resolution, after the words, on line 2 of section 2, after the words cooperative endeavor agreement, just add, insert, open quote, CEA, close quote, minor change. In section 2 again, at the end of, it's all one sentence. At the end of section 2, add the words or in such form of CEA and containing terms substantially similar to the attached Exhibit A as may be negotiated by the mayor in the mayor's sole discretion. What that would do is allow the mayor to make rather minor changes if he chooses to negotiate and if negotiations result in any modification. So,
Are you moving those in globo together
Well, he said-
as one amendment?
and one other minor change to this, yes, sir. The resolution refers to Exhibit A, but when we go to the exhibit attachment, there's no Exhibit A. So I would label the attached cooperative endeavor agreement to this resolution such that it reads Exhibit A. Minor clarification.
Second, the amendments.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Asbill. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on your proposed amendment? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Nay.
4 yeas, 1 nay on adding the proposed amendment.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more amendment. In the Exhibit A, in the first paragraph, to change the word June to the word August.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
To change the word June to the word August in the first paragraph of Exhibit A.
In the first paragraph of Exhibit A, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to change June to August. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone to speak forth, to come close, come up. No one coming, we'll close it. We have a second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Mr.
Amendment
Mayor,
has been added.
move the resolution as amended.
Okay. I'd like to just get maybe, if you guys don't mind, a moment from the city attorney, just to,
Yeah, I spoke to the sheriff's attorney. They gave us this resolution. They gave us the CEA. They interpreted it as Councilman Chataway and Councilman Asbill. So this is the form they sent it.
so if we amend as proposed and send it back to them with the proposed amendments, and they choose,
So you're proposing your amendment on your resolution?
I'm sorry, I mean, a resolution, sorry, not a resolution, just forgive me.
I think
What I would propose for your consideration, we pass this resolution amendment that allows you, if you choose, to, I would suggest, meet with the sheriff and his CFO, he has a CFO, and probably it's Mr. Rupert, I think, who's in charge of sales tax collection. And I would like to be present. The intent is not to charge us for their back office, normal costs. The sheriff's attorney made no changes to the draft agreement they sent over to us, so it became a final. It would be simple to clarify this. I'm not 100% sure she understands, I don't know if it's to be a fact, but I'm not exactly sure she understands what the sheriff's office charges municipalities and agencies such as the school board.
Okay.
So if you choose, and the sheriff consents, you could have that discussion. Failing that, you would be authorized to sign the agreement as is. If you have any movement, you could sign an amended agreement.
Copy. Okay. So we have a proposed.
Thank you. I re-urge my motion
Yep,
to.
so we have proposed
approve as
resolution number
amended.
2028 as amended. Anyone want to come speak forth on proposed resolution number 2022-28? Please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now go to the vote. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill.
Second.
And a second by Councilman Johnson on proposed resolution number 2022-8 as amended. All in favor?
Resolution
Yay.
as amended.
Yeah, Rob, sorry, Rob, sorry.
Just a resolution.
A resolution?
It's
Okay.
a resolution as
All in
amended.
favor?
Yeah,
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution is passed. Thank you.
Proposed resolution,
Excuse me. So if you go to the sheriff and tell him you want to do this and he says no, you still could sign this agreement we have already.
Correct.
Yes.
Just making sure we're right.
Mayor's option.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, my little thing is, Mr. Buddy, you said you met with him a few days ago. I mean, we should have had this discussion prior to tonight. That way, if we had questions, we could have went further. I mean, I just think this is to make this move right here on the fly right here, and you knew about it for a few days, I just feel we could have had a discussion individually,
Well,
back and forth, and that's just my
We could've.
opinion. I mean, if it would have happened today, I understand you just got your answer back today. I mean, that's why
no,
I'm just
we
a
had,
little
we had the
frustrated.
discussions sometime last week, I recall. Scott was involved in it. I'm not putting the blame on him.
Right.
I initiated the original discussion through Scott, who, because it came from the document came from Sheriff's
The Sheriff's
Department
Department,
to Scott.
correct.
So,
I don't make amendments.
right, no. And so I wasn't sure about this proposed resolution until last evening.
Okay. I'm
My-
just
my
saying, that's why I
option
felt
before
like,
I
that's why I
thought of
asked, when'd
this-
you find this out?
No, no,
Because
no. I
We could have
found-
had discussions with the different people too.
Yeah, well,
Just
I,
to clarify, because
okay.
I'm not sure that this is 100% the right way to go. That's the only reason. I'm not saying
hear
it's
you.
wrong.
I
I
hear
don't
you.
know the answer.
Well, this allows me, as a councilman,
If you feel better,
to vote,
You're the mayor.
to allow it to move forward at the discretion of the mayor.
understand.
Otherwise, I would have felt obliged that it was a bad deal for the city. I couldn't have moved forward with it. I couldn't have voted for it.
Okay,
Thank y'all.
Probably would have, still would have passed.
okay.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, we're gonna pull proposed resolution number 2022-9 down off the agenda. But in lieu of that, I would like the residents to know that your garbage collection will go up 36 cents from 7.10 to 7.46, just to make sure that everyone's aware. It is our garbage provider has initiated their 5% CPI increase, and so we will initiate it into the bill that you now receive. It's 36 cents from 7.10 to 7.46. And it goes effective September 1st, 2022. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2022-16. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
I'll take
Johnston. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana, City Hall canopy.
Okay, anyone wanting to come speak forth on proposed ordinance number 2022-16, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
Yeah, I've got a quick comment. We were discussing with the mayor that we got a quote from local Harahan business, came in at 12.2 instead of 20. So we were saying just amend it down to 16,000, give them a little wiggle room, just so we can not have as much outstanding.
So I want to say that I think they're looking at issues with the win rating still too.
All right, so there's no issues. Canopies don't come with an in rating, period.
I'm
So
sorry,
what we
was that?
did was we went and found the toughest, thickest gauge, most solid pieces that we possibly can find, because no one will give a win rating on a canopy, because they do become flying
A
saucers.
freestanding awning, it's hard to get a win rating.
They do become flying saucers in the category 2, 3, 4, and 5 hurricane.
So, Mayor, one of my comments was a lack of specifications. There's no material specifications, there's no warranty. I mean, your
It's
specification.
just a quote. I mean, I would say that this is not going to be the signed agreement, the final agreement, I would think.
That's why I'm thinking we don't amend the money yet.
You want me to withdraw my amendment, Councilman Chatelain?
That's my thought. We don't know where it's going to be at.
You want to just defer and hold on to it till next meeting, find out what we should be closer to, okay?
Okay, I'll withdraw the amendment, move to defer.
Okay, a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer proposed ordinance
There might have been more discussion,
2022-16.
I
Can I make a comment before we vote on that? If this is not the intended document, and you're gonna come up with specifications, I don't know if you plan on bidding this out, if we have to bid it out. But I'd be okay with going forward with the $20,000 if you're gonna get some specifications.
Sure, absolutely.
And have a better contractual agreement with
If
some
it
sort
comes
of
in less,
warranty.
it comes in less.
However, I'm also not opposed to deferring it.
Okay. Yeah, I say let's defer, let's make sure we have
Fine.
true transparency here and find out everything, let's make sure we got everything that we can communicate it correctly to the public. So a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer.
hold on.
I'm sorry?
You want to come speak?
Yeah, I just want to mention one thing. There is an issue involving placement of the posts.
You want to come talk? Want to come talk?
If they place the support beams in the center, as they were looking to do, it might be difficult to get the cars in and out with the prisoners, as we're looking to do. And we also have to have a way to secure, we'd like to put ultimately a gate or a fence behind, so that if we have a prisoner who tries to bolt as we take him out of there. But the big issue is placement of the center posts. So they're looking at ways right now, so the price may change a little bit.
That's why I
based on
didn't want
that.
to drop it from
Perfect.
20 to
Good,
16,
I'm glad you
Yeah,
because
so
you might
it's
need
not
the
about the
extra.
win rating as much now as it is.
Good, I'm glad you
for-
said
For that center post, so they may need to make some
Awesome.
adjustments.
Got it.
So to be clear, this is the one going behind City Hall, right? The police department already,
No, this is the police department, city halls.
No, it's.
It says City Hall, but.
This is City Halls. This
Oh, okay.
isn't yours we're talking about now.
yours,
Okay,
yours
okay.
had passed already, right?
Yeah, yours was done.
Yeah, but
This is City Halls, and I just,
well, you got the same price for the one for City Hall as ours?
Well, you have two, because you have the little one underneath, over the awning over there, and then you have the big one.
Okay.
So this one's going in the back on the City Hall?
Yeah, so still, let's defer. We'll just keep it, we'll defer it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
You got it. But I'm glad you said something, because we may run into some sort of some issue.
no, yeah, yours is approved.
Okay, at the 20.
I don't remember what the amount was, but yours was approved.
We're gonna make sure you
Hey.
get what you need, no matter what. Yeah, it was 2,200. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Johnson. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone wanting to speak forth about the motion to defer? Public hearing is now closed. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is deferred. Thank you,
Proposed
guys.
ordinance number 2022-17. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
I'll take it.
Johnston. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, by amending the budget of the Fire Sales Tax Fund.
Okay, so now anyone wanting to come speak on proposed ordinance number 2022-17? Public hearing is now open. No one coming forth. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
Council, this is an ordinance to amend, if you recall, back a couple months ago, we passed an ordinance for the fire sales tax fund budget. After that, we amended the actual budget. This amends the budget of the fund, not the budget of the general fund, of the fire fund, not the budget of the general fund or the capital fund. Proposed this last meeting. I'm happy to defer if we wanted to just, instead of making changes now, if we want to defer this to the end of the year to make all the changes in, because I'm sure there will be changes based on collection. Or we can go ahead and make these changes to match what we passed. So I'll leave it to the discretion of the council. I'm happy with doing this. You'd like to do it?
If the council's supportive of this ordinance,
Take it up now.
I would like to consider taking it up now so
Okay.
that the budget amounts between funds are in balance.
Gotcha.
So that the transfers between funds are in balance.
Okay, so,
And certainly, part of my notes later in this meeting is that we will be working on amendments for the year-end budget as we get closer to the end of the year over the next few weeks.
Perfect. Thank you.
so on that note, I would not like to defer. I'd like to go ahead and take it up now. It does just match what we've already done from the fire fund, and I guess the finance director would verify that.
It's the same numbers.
Thank you.
If no further discussion, I move.
Any further
To
discussion? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill. We have a second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is approved.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-18. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman,
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, we're gonna pull this ordinance down. Do we still gotta go?
Pull this ordinance down.
We're
Okay.
gonna pull this ordinance down. This was actually an ordinance to, because at some point, we're looking at doing a lot of upgrades in our sewer system because it's become very aged and we need it there. But we think we found a new solution to not have to put the CPI in at this moment in time. So we're gonna pull this one down and try out our new direction that we'd like to go in, which I think will ultimately bring a savings to the city of Harahan and the amount of about $250,000 per year infinitesimally until we ultimately put the sewer plant back under contract with another company. But, so at some point, city of Harahan, the sewer plant was under city control at one point. I think that we can bring it back under city control again And so we'll be making that announcement real shortly on when that date will happen.
Can I make a comment, and it's a question also? I applaud your efforts. It's a great plan. Hopefully it works as well as you hope it does. Todd, the sewer fund ran at a deficit in 2021 of about $125,000. So just so everybody knows, we didn't collect enough in revenues for our sewage system to the tune of about $125,000. So it ran at a deficit. The plan the mayor has, as I appreciate it, and what he just said, would cover that and allow for any inflationary increases in the period we're going through right now.
And not only just that, Tom, but it'll also give us the freedom to continue on with the infrastructure programs that we've been dealing with. When, you know, and I know I've spoken about this before, but I'll just brush over it real briefly. When we took office, we had tons of sand infiltration into the sewer plant. And what happens is when sand infiltration gets in a plant, it mixes with the sludge and turns into like almost a cement-like product. So what that does is start to shut all your pumps down. It breaks everything. Things don't work nowhere near the way they were designed. And so what we've done in the collection system with help from the state in the past 3 years, and Senator Talbot and State Representative John Ilg have been incredible in assisting us with this infrastructure upgrade, I'll call it. We've been able to take about 80% of the reduction of that sand out of the plant. So we feel that we honestly feel that we've got the collection system somewhat in check now, to where we know we can start moving forward with the plant again. We have an incredible plan on how to revitalize the plant, as well as even moving some environmentally friendly projects in there to ultimately will cost us. We'll have no tipping fees for dropping the sludge off that we've been dealing with for over years. So it's a savings on top of a savings, and as we become more efficient in our collection system and our sewer plant, you know, and take it under our own eyes and guide, I think that's where the savings will come in, and it will be incredible. And so we know once we get this plant in check, that $250,000 savings per year will come ultimately to right around a $500,000 savings per year. And there is one person that I would really like to thank. We're having some issues at Lift Station 8, which is our most important lift station. And there's a company, a local company that only can do the work that needs to be done there. It's called BLD. And this is a small project for them, so to get them on board has been really, you know, tough. And Councilman Bonanno has helped with that. That project is going to be around $650,000 to rehab Lift Station 8. And just a couple days ago, Councilman Bonanno has paid to cover half of that. So that is a $325,000 savings to the citizens of Harahan that will not have to come out of their pocket. So just continual good news. People see that we're moving in the right direction. I think that people want to be a part of this success story, and I certainly like being a part of, you know, the team that's especially the ones that are bigger than we are. So thank you,
Tim.
Yes,
Great
sir.
news.
Ordinances for introduction. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman, who would like it? Wheeler. An ordinance approving the rezoning of Lot A-1-B, Square 7, Roseland Park Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, as per a plan made by Mandel Edwards Surveying dated February 25th, 2016. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. Proposed ordinance number 2022-20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021 for the capital project fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for a fitness court. Old business number 1, Board of Adjustment dismissal and appointments.
Okay, does anyone have any Board of Adjustment appointments? Okay. All right, so we will now, can I have a motion to defer old business number 1?
Motion.
All right, motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. We will defer old business number 1, but we have to open a public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Old business number 1 has been deferred. Madam Clerk, old business number 2.
Old business number 2, Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
I defer to Councilman Wheeler.
So at last month's meeting, I had made a motion to nominate Linda Domain as a new member of our Planning and Zoning Board. I believe Councilman Buddy wanted to speak. with Ms. Domain. I believe y'all had that conversation.
We did.
And I would certainly support her nomination.
So we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a second by Councilman Buddy to nominate
Linda Domain.
Linda Domain as our new Planning and Zoning Board appointment. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you very much
Thank you.
Thank you.
for wanting to get involved.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
New business number 2, Todd Turnion, Finance Director, monthly financials with budget to actual comparisons.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, citizens. Just a brief update from the finance team. So the city did receive its sales tax deposit for the June cash register month in August earlier this week, and it was the second highest month over the last 5 years that we've been tracking it. 260,000 was the net collections in this month, just less than $1,000 shy of the high that we received in some month, I think, right after we reopened after COVID. So sales tax receipts continue to be high, more than budget and higher than we've seen in previous years. So this was the last month of sales tax receipts prior to the city receiving the new the sales tax receipts for the new fire sales tax. So our expectation is that the deposit that the city receives in September, in mid-September, will include the sales tax receipts related to the new fire sales tax, pending, I guess, resolution of the commission collection agreement with the sheriff's office. So that's the update on the sales tax receipts. We had some conversation the last time we were here about the outstanding bonds that the city has, and the city has one remaining payment on its general obligation bonds, and that payment is due in the middle of 2023. But the city has a reserve fund with cash in the bank ready to pay off those bonds. So we've reached out to the local bank that holds that debt several times with no response. So it's a local bank that has been recently sold to a larger bank that ultimately sold again to another financial institution. So the bank has been sold twice in the last year. And so we will continue to follow up with those folks and see if we can get an answer and a resolution for the next month's meeting. The other item that we wanted to touch on, maybe two more items. One was FEMA. The city has spent over $3 million, probably close to $3.5, $4 million on FEMA expenses in the 2021 year and the 2022 year to date. The bulk of those expenses were related to immediate emergency response and debris removal. Those are the two primary categories that FEMA classifies the bulk of the cost that the city has incurred in. To date, the city has received 0 funds from FEMA as reimbursement from all of these expenses. And the city, as the citizens know and the council members know, has borrowed $2 million to help kind of fund some of those costs that the city has paid to all of the vendors who have done this work. Just so the council knows that the city administration has weekly conference calls with the FEMA representatives and the state representatives in the state offices that are working through the FEMA claims process. And we have almost daily correspondence through either other phone calls or email correspondence. So the city administration is working on reimbursement. We are timely responding to all of the FEMA folks' requests and hopeful that the city will start to receive some FEMA reimbursements. And maybe last comment on the FEMA piece is that our lack of receipt of FEMA reimbursements is consistent with what the auditor presented in her initial comments in this meeting, that she is seeing from other clients as well. And frankly, that's what we are seeing in other municipalities and governmental agencies that we are working with. So just wanted to let the citizens know and the council members know kind of where we are broadly with the FEMA reimbursement process, and that the city is continuing to work diligently to receive the appropriate reimbursement on those costs. And then lastly, just that we are getting started with the process to look at the actual amounts, kind of do a hard close through July and/or August, so that we can start working on budget amendments for the 2022 year, as well as the proposed budget for the 2023 calendar year. So that's on our list over the next few weeks and months. Lastly, the auditor did have some recommendations in her report, just some minor items, and she mentioned exceptions to the agreed-upon procedures report. We will be bringing some new policies and procedures to the council for review and approval over the next few meetings for you to review and approve prior to the end of the year, based on some recommendations from the audit process. So that's the update, kind of where we stand right now. Happy to answer any questions that the council members have.
So if not, I'd like to, any councils? Any questions?
I
I'd
don't
just
have
like
any-
to,
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say congratulations to you and the finance staff for shaving some days off of getting the audit out. And, yeah, I got a chance to read the management letters and the audit report, and y'all did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buddy. It's certainly a team effort, working with Kerry and the rest of the team here in the City Hall office. I think we work well as a team, and you know, and we try to be responsive. And while it may not sound like much, just 1 week issuance earlier, I would say the whole process where we had weekly phone calls with the mayor, Ms. Strebeck, the audit partner with PNN, ourselves as city team members, helped facilitate the continuous movement of the audit process. And really, we were not rushing at the end. We were just kind of working through some nits and gnats, a few little minor items, you know, over the last week or two. But it was a much more efficient, less rushed process, we thought, this year. And thankful to Kerry and the rest of the City Hall team who helped make that process a little more efficient.
Great work.
two things I'd like to add real fast. So we know that this bond's, and we've been trying to close this bond out, and this bond's been going on for years and years. I'm not quite sure what the logic was behind it, but we've been trying to close it out for a while. So we know that we're not gonna have a new bond issuance, so what we did was we met with our local bank, and we secured the $2 million loan for just, I think, at 3%, which was incredible, and we got that before inflation. Because we knew two things. We knew, one, I was a business owner for 32 years. We knew that I know what it feels like to not get paid, and that's a terrible place to be. And two, we knew hurricane season was right on top of us. And we know other municipalities in the area have not made a payment to anyone. And I want to make sure that we continue to get that response and that service that we've always got and are used to. And the only way I believe in my mind is by paying your vendors. They're going to come first where they got paid first. And two other things. I know, and I just learned this one recently. I didn't know that if any claim from that was over $1 million through FEMA has to be cleared by Congress. We did get notation that from one of Senator Kennedy's aides that $1.8 million has been, not 1.8, but $1.8 million has been cleared. And we also know that right at around 93,000 and some change is coming through Zeta. And FEMA, look, it's been I get it, you know, everybody's in some situations. It's been a tough process working with the guys, and just the criteria and the information they ask for is overwhelming and sometimes silly. But we are starting to get movement, which has been pretty cool, you know, and we're going to try to continue. I mean, my priority number one is going to be to continue to get my vendors paid. You know, we need, like I said, I'm a business candidate, I'm a business mayor. I'm all about business and how do we promote business, because that's how we keep taxes off our citizens. And so that's what we'll continue to do, and we'll just continue to work with FEMA as politely and as nicely and as fast as we possibly can, and try to, work through Congressman Scalise's office, as well as Senator Cassidy's and Senator Kennedy. And Senator Cassidy actually spent a week, he spent 2.5 hours with me about 2 weeks ago, and we did get, a minute to talk about all our woes as well as infrastructure needs from the city at a federal level. And we may even have the opportunity, some staff, to go up to DC and speak in favor of his program, because he really has a lot of gauges in there that can help small towns like us. So that's kind of where we are. I just wanted to give you that brief update.
Thank you.
Was that mayor's discussion, or was that?
That was financial discussion. Look, that's a little part of what I do.
Address the council.
Okay, so anyone like to come up, can address the council, please state your name and address. And for today, we think we're gonna have quite a few, so we're gonna try to limit it to 3 minutes as.
Oh, yeah, mine's going to be quick.
Got it.
I just want to thank the council for approving Linda. Again, Maurizio Francescon, Chairman, Planning and Zoning, 239 West Avenue. Y'all know where I'm at. But yeah, I just want to thank y'all because I think we are the largest board. We are a 9-member board, so Linda will make the 9th person on the board. And of course, for us to have a quorum, we have to have 5. So it's very important, especially as Colonial progresses, and I see there's something coming up in September for us to approve. So I appreciate the effort, because sometimes we didn't have a quorum because due to COVID or family obligations, we could not have a quorum. It delayed some things, but we got things back on track, and especially with the upcoming Colonial projects coming forward probably within the next few months and next year, it's important to have a full quorum, to have open, transparent discussions, and I've always encouraged that. Always encourage people to attend planning and zoning. It's your time to voice your opinions, concerns, address anything. Me, the board, y'all know where I live. Y'all have my phone numbers, email address. I'm pretty easy to find. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, Council, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. For those who don't know me, my name is Pete Schneckenberger, and I'm going to be running for mayor. And it's a tough job. I understand how hard it is, but I want to let the people of our city know that I think we need a very, very full-time mayor with full-time hours. I think that we can move the city forward a little quicker than it's happening right now. I have a fundamental difference in the way money is being spent. That's the reason why I'm here. It's not all bad either. But I do want the citizens to know I was born and raised in this town all of my life, except for 3 years I lived in Dallas. That was in my late 20s for a career move. Attended St. Rita, attended Rummel, went to Nicholls State, graduated with a degree in business administration and real estate as a minor with a focus on insurance. And like I said, I have a fundamental difference of how money is spent in the city these days. If elected, I will forge to the greatest extent humanly possible to work with any council that the city elects, and as well as whoever the next police chief will be. I think it's very, very important that the relationship between the police department and the mayor's office is totally politically free. I'm not sure that that exists right now. I also want to say right now before we start, I'm certainly not trying to campaign, but I do want to say that I am not going to be for any tax increase in this city unless it goes before the citizens. I mean that. And then finally, I do want to say that I will be a full-time mayor. I will forge a relationship with the playground, with the senior center. I know we saw the survey here. Those things don't address what's on people's minds about why the senior center's been down so long, the playground, et cetera, et cetera. I will have a deep personal relationship with every employee in the city, if elected, so that I can find out what's deficient and what efficiencies we can find. I will have plenty of time to be in the street in the next 3 months. I can answer any questions anybody wants to address to me. But if elected, I will be a full-time mayor with full-time daytime hours in here every day looking like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to come address the council? All right, no.
Hello, my name is Carol Barker LaGreco, and I'm running for City Council here in Harahan. And I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone. Know several people here, many people here, but I'm sure there's many people in our audience this evening that I don't know, and you don't know me. I was born and raised here in Harahan, grew up, went to St. Rita's, also went to Chappelle High School, went to UNO, graduated, and then traveled for quite a bit in my job, but I'm a real estate investor, a commercial real estate agent, and I'm looking to make sure that the city of Harahan continues to be, I think, one of the best cities that anybody can call home. After growing up here, I just know the feeling after leaving with my travels, going different places, to be able to come back home and always have a home base with business travel. And it really has made me want to be on the council so that I can participate in keeping what I think a little town, a nice rural city should be. And I would look forward to meeting with anyone, discussing any of the issues that you may have that you would like brought up in the next session, because there are always things that we can address. I'd love to see some of the blighted properties be turned over into community spaces. Very much about quality of life and doing some advantages for the senior citizens, having a food bank and a community garden, and some issues like that. But like I said, I'm more than happy to discuss any of those issues. I do have a website. It's carolforcouncil.com, and you can go to the website, and I will have all the information there that you can see what my policies would be and where I would stand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacques Soulier. I'm also running for council. I live at 1344 over on Hickory. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody. Thank you, council, for giving us all an opportunity to speak. I do look forward to working with you guys. I want to make myself available to the council, to the city, if you guys need help with anything. I'm pretty sure I gave you all my card, but we'll do that again. But I'll be, I'm looking to help out, whether I win or not, to make Harahan a little better, a little safer. And with a lot of the stuff that went on in the last couple of years out in Baton Rouge, I realized we got to do more locally. So that's why I decided to run. That's why I'm here. And that's why I'm here to help. So anything you guys need, reach out. My website is jacquesforcouncil.com. Nice and simple. It's the French spelling. But looking forward to working with everyone here and spending some more time here at City Hall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Wild, born and raised in Harahan. I'm not running for anything. Just have a question. A lot of the seniors are concerned about what's going on at the senior center, because a lot of them are forced to go to Jefferson, to the Pink House. So do we have any?
I will. I have. I'm not going to go into it now. If you want, let's close address to council, and then I'll address you. I'll
Okay,
address senior center
okay.
first. All right. Anyone else? All right. So we'll now close address to council.
Secretary's report. Secretary's report for June 2022, total revenues, $1,039,434.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add the total revenues for the July. They just became available this afternoon. Move to amend to add the number $474,084.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill. We're now open for public hearing. Anybody wants to talk about adding the total revenue report numbers. And when it comes to we'll now close it. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. Can you repeat that figure one more time?
$474,084.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. It is amended. Thank you, Councilman Asbell.
Reports.
You good? It's Chief Walker's report, but you good? Yeah.
I went through most of the statistics earlier. Brian St. Cyr, Assistant Chief of Police, Harahan. Chief did want to express that we now have a school resource officer at Harahan School. We were the only municipality in the parish that did not have one. And so, working in conjunction with our school board member, Billy North, he really went to bat for the city. He saw a need there. Harahan Elementary has taken on a new role. It's not just a grade school. It goes all the way up to middle school. And so we were starting to have a few problems there. And having a school resource officer there, working with those kids, can be instrumental in getting to them before they get in trouble. We've already seen it paying dividends, and it's only been 2 weeks. So that is a good thing for the city. With the problems that we were starting to see there last year with some of the older kids. Some of the 8th grade kids, they have a few kids that are in 8th grade, they're 14, 15 years old, and it brings a whole new set of problems that we haven't had when it was just a grade school. So that is one good thing for us. We're also working on getting someone working back with DEA. Our 2 DEA guys retired this year, and so we have someone going through the DEA training, which, as we know, can bring a lot of revenue to the city through seizures, and we're just about to have that person start back up. It's a 8-month process to go through that we've been going through to have someone back on that task force. The other task force that we're participating in that's new in the last year is Secret Service Task Force. This has been instrumental in several cases that we've had with electronics. There are programs that the city can't afford to buy. There are $400,000 computer programs that help us do electronic tracing on items. In the past, we've had to send these things out to other agencies to do the digital forensics on it. Now we are active participants. We can actually go to the Secret Service office, work with these programs, and do our own digital forensics on a lot of things, which we've been seeing pay off in a lot of cases. Phones, computers, the electronic things, we've actually been able to work cases ourselves rather than having to send it out to other agencies and get put to the bottom of the list. At that time, that's all we have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chief,
Councilman
can I ask you a question? Did y'all hire a full-time officer for the school, or y'all?
Right
I know
now,
y'all were looking, I just didn't know if y'all
We are
have.
looking. We have a gentleman we met with this week who's a post-certified officer who wants to be a school resource officer, full-time. Right now, we're splitting it between 2 people.
So yeah.
We sent them through the training.
Your patrolmen right now are doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is, whoever it is that we have is gonna be, by law, they have to be a
Correct.
post-certified
I'm just
police
saying, right
officer.
now, you don't have a steady one there.
Yeah, and it's 100% funded by
Jefferson Parish.
Jefferson Parish School Board, the school system. So, yes, we have that, but it looks like within the next week, we'll have a full-time post-certified police officer that's retired from another agency.
Thank you.
Assistant Chief, I have one more question. Since you brought up the funding of the position, is that something that has to pass before the council to accept the funding from the school board?
No.
No? It's, okay. I mean,
We have in the past, when we accepted money from Jefferson Parish. I don't know if it'd be belts and suspenders.
okay. Yeah, let's just look into it, I guess, as city attorney, finance department, if we can make sure.
Similar to what happens with a detail.
Because I imagine it's a CEA to pay an officer, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
They have an amount that they have agreed to pay, and it's one of the most aggressive in the parish at this point. But it's similar to a detail. We have a police officer over there. We're telling them what it costs us, and they're reimbursing us directly.
But they don't pay the police officer directly.
They don't
like
pay the police
detail,
officer
right?
directly.
Okay. Yeah, so we just might want to look at, yeah, we need to see the CEA at some point. too.
It's been sent to the city and to the city attorney, I believe.
Okay. All right, I just want to look into it. I don't know I haven't seen it. And if I don't have to see it, that's fine, but if it's a CEA, I think it should have been passed by resolution before, so I'm just looking to figure that out.
We just need to double check,
Yep.
cover ourselves.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Councilman Ezra?
Just one report. Believe it or not, Harahan has an amateur rugby club. They're called the Harahan River Coyotes. They practice over and play over at Yote Field, Yote Field, which is over behind Zephyr Field. They've got a small field over there. Their season starts September 24th. The reason I'm mentioning this because you got several council members up here and the mayor, I believe, who are sponsors of the team. Our new project coordinator from Namibia, who's the team captain over there. He's also the coach of the team. So I just wanted to mention that September 24th is the first home game over at Yote Field against the Crew. It's good, free entertainment. Watch guys pummel each other for a couple hours. It's great. Maurizio was interested.
Interesting.
No other reports. Thank you.
Councilman Buddy?
No report, thank you.
Councilman Chatelain?
No reports, thanks.
Councilman Johnston?
No report.
Councilman Wheeler? Okay, then I'll go into some
Here
few
we go.
things. Here we go. All right. First of all, y'all, I certainly would like to recognize a former mayor and councilman of Jefferson Parish who's done an incredible lot for the city of Harahan, and that's Mr. Paul Johnson. So we want to make sure we recognize you. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the city. I really appreciate it, and I know we all do, and the city of Harahan does. I also would like to congratulate the staff on an incredible audit report. I know you know, I'll go ahead and refrain from negativity, but I would like to congratulate the staff on an incredible audit report and an outstanding citizen survey. I mean, it makes us truly feel like we're really moving in the right direction, you know, and I'd also like to talk about maybe real fast the Oktoberfest parade that we're going to start to plan very shortly. It should be, we're looking at our preliminary date as October the 1st. And what we'd like to do is we're going to start meeting with the restaurants. We're going to compile our data from Restaurant Week. And what we're going to do is have those restaurants come out and try to do a German-style menu for that weekend of that Saturday and Sunday. And maybe just have the whole city, you know, go into a German theme for the weekend. And it's a great way to start to kick off the, you know, the holiday season. So we want to do that. It's, you know, weather should be great. Senior citizen update. The senior citizen city. The senior center update. All right, let's talk about it real fast. Okay. So we went into the senior center, and when I went to go check on ACs, when the ACs finally went out that are as old as the building, and they're incredibly old, they even have boilers in them, there's literally no technology that they make to fix these things. They have to be replaced. It is an incredible amount of money to replace them. So what we're trying to do at this moment in time is get parts fabricated to get the ones that we have working. I have a local gentleman that lives right here in Harahan that's fabricating the parts for me to get them working, and in hopes that we can get it and get some funding to ultimately remove them and get the boiler and everything taken back out of the attic and put a more efficient and new system in to where it's easier to maintain and easier to get parts for. When we were in the senior center, we noticed that it was brought to our attention that they warm up the meals there to give out to the seniors, that there was somewhat of a gas leak on the stove. So we did some investigation of the gas leak on the stove, and we found that the oven was taking an incredibly long time for the power to ignite. And when it did ignite, it was quite a boom. And then one of the burners on top of the oven was not igniting as well. So the seniors had the wherewithal to open that door and let the gas out, which was a bit incredible. Because if not, it probably would have been a real bad situation. The stove is now in place. We ordered a brand new stove. We got that in right now. We're waiting for Hiller to come out and get the suppression system back in line, because there is a suppression system. It is a commercial grade oven, and what happens is that for some odd reason, if that stove malfunctions and gas starts spewing into the air, the suppression system automatically kicks in and shuts that off. We'll have that meeting with them this week. I believe that will be on Friday. What else we had? The ice machine. Brand new ice machine is already in place and working. It is making ice as we speak. So when we do get back in there, we'll have no problem getting ice. Roof. The roof, we've run into a situation with the roof. There's a lot more damage, a lot of termite damage underneath the roof than maybe even anticipated. So we're actually replacing a lot of wood in that roof. I'm hoping to have that complete by Friday. It may be an aggressive timeline, but I'm hoping to have the senior center open by the end of next week, if not earlier. So that's what we're pushing for. Today, just things happened. Today we had a situation where the roofers were replacing wood and cut through electrical line, and shorted out a lot of the work that we've done on the ACs. So now we're trying to get those parts in, but I believe they have been collected, and we should be back up again rolling tomorrow. And we're even going to look at right now maybe putting some fail-safe window units in, just in case for some odd reason, because the summer days have been incredibly hot, and we want to make sure it stays safe for the seniors, that we do have some kind of backup AC in place. I've also reached out, as a matter of fact, I didn't reach out, Councilman Dino Bonanno and State Representative John Ilg is also involved in this with me. They're both aware of everything that's going on, and they're going to continue to try to help get some funding for this, because, you know, I know that the city of Harahan has a $6 million budget, and to put it in scope, the high school Rummel has a bigger budget than the city of Harahan. $3 million of that budget is gone, $2 million to the police department, $1 million to the fire department. So that leaves the city itself to run and keep everything else open with about $3 million. It is a daunting task. And when I'm usually not in my office, I always have my cell on, but I am always out trying to generate new funding. And with the next grant, as we're working with this water sector program right now, that will give me the ability to redo the entire sewer plant and almost bring it back up to perfect. In this first 4 years, I will have brought over $12 million to the city of Harahan. I'm not going to say I'm going to say we. This team and I have busted our butt in Baton Rouge for 3 sessions straight, being there probably more than any municipality has ever been there, and it has paid incredible dividends for the city. When I came in to be the mayor, I set a goal of bringing in 1 year's budget, and that was $6 million, and we've doubled that in 4 years. And I did it because I have this team that bust butt with me, and they're aggressive, and they get out and we work. And so, yeah, I may not be sitting in that office all the time, but I am on the street, and my cell phone is on 24/7. I respond and answer any phone call, anytime, day or night. And just to make sure you want to test that theory, my cell phone number is 504-343-7762. You call me, and I'm there. Ball fields. So actually Councilman Chatelain's brother is now cutting the grass on the ball fields so we can get a condition of where we are there, because we're trying to put heavy machinery on there to get the dirt out. We not only need to get out Ida damage, but we need to get out debris that was actually left in from Katrina. And believe it or not, the NOLA Gold was one of the people that came in to do a clinic for us and kind of showed us all of the bad malfunctions that were in that field. And so, you know, we want to make sure that we get this field completely playable. We're hoping to have the football season ready to go. The gym has been quite some issues since I've been here. That gym roof has leaked. I didn't build the gym, and the design, why it's leaking, it's just things get old sometimes, guys. You know, and now there's so many leaks, it's become an issue. And we're trying to work hard to replace or rebuild the gym. But again, you know, we have budget's limited, so we're out trying to get the funding from that, and kind of at this moment in time, we're really reliant on FEMA. And we're pushing.
Excuse me. Mayor needs to back up. The field, I'm going to elaborate on the field.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you, we're getting beat up on the field. FEMA just approved us to move on that field about a month ago. We were told if we started to renovate that field before we had approval from FEMA on the specs on what they wanted us to do, we would not be refunded. So that's one reason the field sat there for so long. We got approval, went through the bid process, contract was awarded. Rain's got us right now, but I think we'll be seeing work on that field very shortly. I was hoping this week, which obviously doesn't look like that's happening, but it should be very short. You'll see work on that field. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Chatelain. And then just in case no one mentioned it, the City Hall roof. We've also working on that. We've met with FEMA, and we're trying to devise a plan that we can start to move ahead a little bit. So we've gotten approval to where we can start going after the low-hanging fruit, where the city can afford to pay to get those projects done. We just recently got that approval. Of course, you know, being as financially strapped as we are, those will be very selective. But we know that we can get these low-hanging, cheaper projects done, and FEMA will reimburse those. If we pay for it, they'll reimburse that a whole lot faster than waiting on bids and specs. So we're all working through that process as well. It's been a challenging 4 years, guys. I mean, 2 hurricanes and COVID. It's been something special. I'm glad I got the opportunity to be the mayor, to get the city through that. I'm glad I got to work with the team that I got. I am certainly looking for reelection. And I hope you guys vote for me and hope that you believe that I did a wonderful job and a team. And the truth is I didn't do it by myself. I did it with this team. And I think that's how this city grows forward. It grows forward with a team mentality, because today teams win, individuals don't win. And so I'm very fortunate and very lucky. And that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, before we go on to pay the bills, may I have a point of personal privilege, please?
Yes, sir, you do.
With that, we, sadly for us, but I'm sure he's more comfortable now, we have to announce the loss of a longtime
Oh, my
community
goodness,
member
yes.
and team
Thank you.
member. Harahan fireman for a while. All of his sons were Harahan firemen. One of them still is. He worked for the Harahan Police Reserve Force for a little while. His family's been here a long time. He leaves behind a lot of family, a lot of friends. Mr. Dave Hopkins passed away last week. He fought a long, hard battle with cancer, gave it hell for a little while,
Yeah, he did.
but I'm sure he's more comfortable now. So I just ask for a brief moment of silence if we can. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Pay bills. Bills paid in June 2022. Total expenditures, $1,141,325.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend the agenda.
Move to amend the agenda for July 2022, the bills paid to include it as $903,553.63.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill. We'll now open the public hearing. Anyone to speak, please come forward. No one coming to speak. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add the total of July expenditures, $903,553.53. Do I have a second?
63 cents.
63 cents, correction. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yea, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Other than this agenda. Madam Clerk?
No executive session, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion we have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Johnson. We have a second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
We are adjourned.